Hello, BookTube. How's this for a camera angle, huh? Huh, baby? The tripod makes all sorts of things possible, but I don't have a place to put the camera, so you're going to have to see just Frida's rump end there. And I've got some mail for you, though. I thought you'd want to see that anyway. So we've got a bunch of packages here, and it ends in a box. And maybe the bean will come within view. I don't know. I don't know how this whole tripod arrangement is going to work. This angle seemed sort of good to me. So let's see. We have a whole bunch of cardboard. Let's start off with the manila envelopes. Let's see what we have here. First one is a finished copy, probably 2019. Yes, December of 2019. This is from the folks at Yale University Press who never let me down, and this is called American Universities and the Fate of Europe's Scholars Under the Nazis, this is what it's going to look like. Well Worth Saving is the name of the book, and it's by Laurel Leff. Well Worth Saving. Look at that cover. Look at that illustration. That is bone-chilling. Hi, baby. Hi, babe. Let's see here. Just 3 months after Hitler became chancellor, German universities were required by law to fire all their non-Aryan faculty. The bean often does this. Here, why don't you come down with me? Just sit right there. Get this pillow out of the way and you just sit there. There you go. Can you see? She's laying down, but she's willing to attack. She starts to lose energy as the sun goes down. And she absolutely hates going out at night. She sees things. She sees things in the smallest shadows. I think her night vision must be absolutely terrible. Anyway, what have we got here? As Nazi power spread throughout Europe, Jewish academics desperately sought opportunities to escape the looming catastrophe. And keep in mind, a lot of these people, most of them, didn't have $6,000 stashed away in a savings account so that they could just pick up and leave the country. You know, they had the opportunity still. The travel restrictions hadn't yet hardened into place. They could have escaped, and some of them did, but you think of yourself. You know, you're a working academic. You have a working academic's normal savings account. You don't even have maybe a passport or legal papers of any kind. You certainly have your deep roots in your community. If a lunatic government comes to power, your assumption is going to be, well, I can lay low, I can weather the storm, I can wait this out. It's only historical hindsight that says otherwise. Any scholar offered a position at an American institution of higher education was exempt from strict U.S. immigration quotas and could immigrate more easily, often bringing immediate family members. So American universities faced a weighty question. Should they hire scholars trying to escape Nazi-dominated Europe, easing their path to immigrating to the United States and perhaps saving their lives? And this book is the first book to explore the life and death choices American universities made and how they made them. Fantastic. Fantastic. All right, so we are continuing with the trend of keyhole histories right to the end of this year. We have seen dozens of these things, dozens of them, and that all history really is built from keyhole history. So I'm not criticizing at all, but that's fantastic. And the idea that I have, where am I going to put all this stuff? The idea that I have serious works of history to read right up until the end of the year is both encouraging and terrifying. So let's see. Maybe this next one will be a finished copy as well. Something else I've got to put. I have to put these things right on the top of the docket. Yes, okay, this is another work of history in December that I have not read yet. I dipped my toe in. I dipped my toe in enough to know that it was great, that it's fantastic. But I haven't actually finished it. This comes out in December 10th. And this is Jonathan Rosenberg's book, Dangerous Melodies. I think we saw the advanced copy of this. Classical Music in America from the Great War through the Cold War. In 1958, Van Cliburn, that is the dreamboat on the cover, a young pianist from Texas, that's Pianist, a young piano player from Texas, okay? Get your mind out of the gutter, BookTube. Won the International Tchaikovsky Competition in Moscow. Overnight, he became a national hero, hence the ticker tape parade. and an estimated 100,000 people attended a ticker tape parade in Manhattan. This scene, surprising to us today, shows how central classical music was to our culture for much of the 20th century. It also underlines how classical music converged with politics and foreign relations. Coming at the height of the Cold War, Van Cliburn's victory was a major coup in our battle with the Soviets for cultural supremacy. Fantastic. Okay, well, I should have got to this a long time ago, and I haven't done that, so I really need to. I'll put both of these right at the top of the list, because these are coming right away in December. Good Lord. November is almost over. Thanksgiving is almost at our throats. When who knows what will happen? Will the Bean and I go on the road? Will we visit a certain small old farmhouse in Vermont? Will there be, and of course, if we're asking that question, the natural follow-up question is, if I visit the little farmhouse in Vermont, will there be another epic live stream? The last one was very long. It was full of bookish talk, just full, crammed full, and yet the amazing thing about that last live stream, if I remember to find it, I'll leave a link to it. Not that you... The amazing thing about all that and concentrated book talk in that live stream is that it was only a fraction of all the book talk that got done. When I go up to the little farmhouse, Mark Richardson and I just natter away. The only way you could concentrate that book talk even more is if our fellow OGBG members, Todd and Jason, were in the room. And someday I dream that will happen. That the four of us will sit on camera and talk books. Oh my God. But anyway, now we'll move on to the cardboard before we get to the box. Let's see. Okay, thankfully, this next one is a 2020 book. So I'm not just loading up. This is from March. Okay, this is, oh God, help us. Oh my. This is right up Steve's alley. This is The Divided States of America. Why Federalism Doesn't Work by Donald Kettle. Federalism was James Madison's great invention, an innovative system of power sharing that balanced national and state interests. Federalism was the pragmatic compromise that brought the colonies together to form the United States. Brought them together under false pretenses, lied to them. The colonies were told that the Articles of Confederation were being revised, not scrapped, in favor of a constitution that creates a thing called the federal government that, despite what that sentence just said, is not equally balanced with the states. Just Google the words eminent domain, and you will see that the federal government is not equally balanced with the states. The federal government has unlimited powers of physical coercion. But anyway, yet, even beyond the question of slavery, inequality was built into the system because federalism, by its very nature, meant that many aspects of Americans' life depended on where they lived. Over time, these inequalities have created vast divisions between the states and made federalism fundamentally unstable. In The Divided States of America, Donald Kettle chronicles the history of a political system that once united the nation and now threatens to break it apart. Oh boy. Okay, well. Okay, so who is Donald Kettle when he's at home? He is the Sid Richardson Professor at the Lyndon B. Johnson School of Public Affairs at the University of Texas, Austin. Okay, and he lives in Austin, Texas. Great. So this comes out in March, when the winter will be here in Boston. The winter will be still strong, still lingering. There'll still be snowstorms. So let's see. That is pretty pointed. that is pretty pointed. In terms of Steve's interests. So let's move on. Actually, let's take a look at this again. What is the paperwork here? Sorry, but you're used to this, right? I mean, if we're doing live mail hauls, then I have no ability to rehearse things ahead of time, so I have to do a little housekeeping while we're doing it. All right, so what is this next one? Oh, what a pretty thing. What is this? This is from Flatiron Books. It comes out in, oh no, it's the December book. Good Lord. This is going to be a paperback original, $17. In December 10th. What is this? This is called The Wonderful by Saskia Sargentson. Look at that cover. Very eye-catching. Very nice. From the author of the author. No, that would be Sarah's mother. Would be the author of the author. No, from the author of The Other Me comes a sweeping and turbulent drama about the anxieties of post-war Britain, where one strong and inspirational young woman looks to find her place no matter the cost. It's hard to be an American girl in 1957. Especially when you'd rather, oh God, all right, okay, well. When you'd rather play baseball than wear a dress, you have to move 4,000 miles away to live on a foreign air base for your dad's job, and you can only watch helplessly as your mother frays from anxiety. And especially if being 5 minutes older means you have to protect your fragile twin brother. Still, Hetty Delaney's loves her family, and she's trying to make the best of her new life on a U.S. air base in England. After all, her dad's a war hero, her mother's a beauty, and her brother's a brainiac who writes moving stories about space travel. Then one tragic day, the unforeseen occurs, and all three are ripped away, leaving Hetty alone with countless questions. Okay, that sounds really good. And it's a December release, so it goes on my fugitive December shelf and becomes a priority. Not for this month, of course. This month is nonfiction November, but this can wait. It's a December release. All right, so let's try this next one. Feels like a finished copy. Speed, that's as big as you are. Oh, great. Okay, fantastic. All right, this is a December release. This is also a novel, so I'll be reading it then. And we saw the advance copy of this. This is about the bright young things. This is due December 10th. It's by Iona Gray, and it's The Glittering Hour. This is the finished copy of The Glittering Hour. Iona Gray dazzled readers with her award-winning novel Letters to the Lost, and now she returns in an unforgettable historical novel about true love found and lost and the secrets we keep from one another. London in 1925 is a whirlwind of parties and drinking for 22-year-old Selena Lennox, dubbed a, quote, bright young thing by the press. They were a group of young kids. I wrote about them, actually, I didn't write about them. One of my treasured freelance writers, Honoria Sincere, wrote about them. And I believe Honoria Sincere has since been gathered to her ancestors. But if I can find her essay, which is as thorough and engaging as though I'd written it myself, I'll be happy to reprint it so we can all remember her. She was the grandmother of another freelancer of mine, Ian Manfred Sincere. But anyway... Selena stays on just the right side of scandal, all while running from the life her parents would choose for her. So this is a Bright Young Things novel. I've had the advance copy and I haven't even glanced at it, but now it's hoovering into view. So we'll put that on the docket for December. And now we get to the box. It's a thick thing, but it's not very heavy. It could be something small, and rather than a big heavy finished copy. So what have we got here? That is a box, Frida Bean. There's no way. Oh, okay, great. All right. Well, this is a finished copy, and it's a finished copy of something very, very weighty. So what was all this stuff I got? I don't want all this stuff. Should I have all this stuff in here as well? No, I don't. Okay. This is a major work of history that also comes out in December, so I've got a lot of reading to do. This is basically setting up my... This is basically setting up a TBR for me. This is by Robert Harms, and it is called Land of Tears, Exploration and Exploitation of Equatorial Africa. For centuries, geography conspired to keep strangers out of the Congo River Basin in the heart of Africa. But in just 3 short decades at the end of the 19th century, the rainforest was shattered and completely transformed by intruders from Europe, America, and the Arab world. By 1905, the region was one of the most brutally exploited on Earth. In this book, prize-winning historian Robert Harms weaves an illuminating new account of the colonization of the Congo Basin. In the late 1870s, explorers from both the East and West opened the floodgates to the pillage of human and natural resources in the Congo. As Harms recounts, by the 1880s, merchants of ivory, slaves, and rubber operating under the authorities in Zanzibar, Belgium, and France were methodically stripping the rainforest of its natural bounty in order to satisfy growing demand in Europe and the United States. So this will be a brutal, brutal book to read, but important for all that. And it's a December book, so... Okay, so I have built a bit of an impromptu TBR here. This will be dictating a lot of reading tonight. I have two pieces of writing, urgent pieces of writing that I need to do today, and then the rest of the time is reading time. So we have Land of Tears about Congo, the Congo Basin, The Glittering Hour, finished copy of a Bright Young Things novel. Let's see, what else we have here? We have Dangerous Melodies, classical music and the role it played in American culture, especially on the international stage. Well Worth Saving, American universities' responses to European academics seeking refuge from the growing threat of the Nazis. Amazing. Don't think I've ever read a book specifically on that subject. The Divided States of America, on the dangers of federalism. Don't get me started. And you're all saying, no, we didn't get you started. We never get you started. You start yourself. I know. I'm sorry about that. And lastly, this thing, The Wonderful, by Saskia Sargington. Also a December release. So not a bad mail haul for today, although it's sort of taking me to task. I don't mind that at all. Reading new releases is both my job and my passion. So I'm going to wrap this up for now, but I'll be back. We have plenty of other stuff to talk about. So I'll see you then. Thank you, BookTube.